Welcome back, CSE 3200 Yukon Stores. We just began our robot app. Got a picture that looked like this, but right now we don't get any functionality out of it. We are going to go over to our main activity and we are going to wire up our views, which one more time, that means we're going to get references to inflated views and we are going to set listeners. In class, I may have only set listeners for one of these robots due to a lack of time, but we can and should do all three perhaps. All right, so let's go. We can get rid of strings. I just X that out, go over to the main activity, leave ourselves a little bit of space before the onCreate, and then I'm going to type private lat-init var, and now what I want to name these guys. So that's going to be my red robot, and it will be of type image view. Yep, that looks fine. It'll take a second for that red to go away. Now I want a similar line of code two more times, but this will be for white and for yellow. And again, that lat-init says that I promise that this thing is currently null, but before I ever use it, I'll make sure it's not null. A safety measure built in by Kotlin. Last video, I don't think I made these private, but this time I'm going to follow the guidelines for encapsulation, make them private. That is a better practice. And now I'm going to do get the references to the inflated views. So red robot is equal to find view by ID, parentheses ID dot, or R dot ID dot red robot. Finally, I will autocomplete and one extra parenthesis. Get rid of it. Okay. All right, so I thought that only this part would be underlined, and also I was a little curious why I have that extra parenthesis that I had to delete, and paused it and found my error. So this needs to be in the onCreate. Here is my begin brace for the activity. Here's my begin brace for the onCreate. I wanted my space here, and I put it here. Now that I've done that, look at all the suggestions it had, and they might be exactly right. So red robot is find view by ID. Yeah. All of those fine. I kind of expect an error. I don't get any. And that's simply because why I would expect an error is if I type those lines, even though it had a suggestion, maybe I hadn't synced and looked and it knew what the... If I hadn't synced, it would not have looked over to the other file to see what red robot's ID was, that it actually was valid. And so when I paused, I think I hit sync to see if that error would go away, and it didn't. So I did that before I did anything. And that's why I didn't get an error here. But that is very common, that even though you autocomplete, type exactly what you want, you would get an error there. All right, so we're going to set a listener for the red robot, and what we'll do is we'll just give a message that said you clicked the red robot. So red robot dot set on click listener, yes. Set image resource, no, that's not what I want to do. Toast dot make text parentheses this comma red robot clicked, yes. Length short, yes. And then even at the end, I'm going to hide this so I could see the end of this over here. Even the suggestion doesn't finish it off appropriately. I need to type dot show paren. This is a line of code that I asked for on quizzes or on the exam. For me, it's kind of like using print statements as a debugger while you code. Okay, I want to make sure that I have hooked things up. So I'll click it and see if I actually register the click, so I'm communicating from my XML file over to my main activity, my .kt file. So arguments, this belongs to the Toast class. So I had to get the Toast class as a import, so that happened automatically. Make text, it's got 3 arguments. The first argument is this. Now, this is grayed out, as is these things. Text, yeah, sure. Now, don't actually type context. Now, context, there are a few versions of context in Android development and activity, and then others, okay? Now, we actually, in this class, only use activity, so any context is going to be an activity. So what is this? The activity that I'm currently in is going to get passed along. The text is going to be displayed, and the length. Now, I, once upon a time, forgot what it was called, and I started typing short, because I remembered short was part of the name. It would not autocomplete, and then it made sense to me after I thought about it. This is a constant that belongs to the Toast class, and if I do toast dot, there are only a couple of options, short or long. Short's, I think, about 3 seconds, and long is about 5. That dot show, that happens with a lot of things that I want to display in this language and others. Sometimes it makes sense to me that it should be there by default, and then if I wanted to hide it, I would have a command for that. But no, typically the command is, all right, you wrote it, but if you actually want to show it, you got to type dot show. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and hit run and pause. All right, so here we are in our game. If I click the yellow guy, nothing should happen. I click the white guy, nothing should happen. I click the red guy, and I should get a toast, and it did pop up. It was slow the first time to pop up in class, but after the first time, it comes a lot quicker. So I'm going to stop that. I will go ahead and hide it, and I want to show you something. I'm going to repeat this code, but change it to white and white here and yellow. I guess I can show you a couple of things. I'll change this to long, and I'll run again. Okay, so one thing I want to show you is that white has a listener now, yellow has a listener now, and that the yellow lasts longer than the white because I have it set to long instead of short. I also want to show you that as I click a bunch in a row, they go into a queue. So in order to see the white message, the red message has to go away, etc. Okay, so that gets us caught up for now. I will see you in the next video. Bye.